Well, good evening, Cedar Falls. Welcome to our regular City Council meeting for Monday, August 15th, 2022. I'll now call this meeting to order with a roll call from Madam Clerk.
Schultz.
Here.
DeBoer.
Here.
Cruz.
Here.
Harding.
Here.
Ganfield.
Here.
Sires.
Here.
Dunn.
Here.
All members present, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And for those who are able, would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of August 1st?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any agenda revisions tonight, Madam Clerk?
I have no agenda revisions, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. So with that, we'll move on to public forum, where speakers will have an opportunity to speak for up to 5 minutes on topics related to city business. Does anyone from the public wish to speak in council tonight at public forum? Okay, seeing none, then I'll move us over to staff updates, which we've moved closer in to the top of the agenda. So that if there's anything that comes up that's important for the public, you'll hear it right toward the start of the meeting. So Mr. Gaines, what have you got for us tonight?
So Mayor, I have one staff update for you. This is pertaining to a pedestrian bridge that was constructed on private property. Many of you council members knew that, and you were known. It's in the vicinity of Eden Way and Andy Avenue. Earlier this spring, city staff was notified by a concerned citizen that there was a makeshift pedestrian bridge that was located out there, and so the building officials went out there, looked at it, and deemed it to be unsafe and asked for it to be removed. At this time, the property owners have removed that. One of the things that we're looking at and working with all of the property owners involved there is there a solution? Because one of the biggest concerns that they had, and the reason they constructed this particular bridge, was kind of a shortcut for kids to get over to Aldridge Elementary. So our staff's reaching out to the residents in the area and going to try to come forward with a solution and maybe bringing that back to this body in the very near future.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gaines. So does council have any questions for Mr. Gaines on the bridge? Knowing that we have these programs for safe routes to schools, and we're trying to find ways to make it so kids can get to school without necessarily having to have a car or be transported. It's a straight shot from that neighborhood to Aldridge Elementary, but just an unsafe culvert area right there right now. So city is working to address that, and also for future subdivisions as projects were approved, we'll keep that in mind so that if we have a situation like this in the future and can sort of see it ahead of time, that we'll have the easements in place and take the steps so that those sorts of accesses are sort of pre-baked in. So with that, I'll take us over to old business. And item 2 is passing ordinance 3014, amending section 26118 of the Code of Ordinances by removing certain property located at 2209 North Union Road from the R1 Residence District and placing the same in the A1 Agricultural District upon its third and final consideration. And so if it's approved tonight, it will become part of the code. So is there a motion to approve?
Second.
Motion and seconded. Open for any discussion? We did have a chance to review this in previous meetings, and the information's in the packet. Does anyone from the public wish to speak on it tonight? Seeing none, so I will see that we have the motion in the second, and if no other discussion, then this will require a roll call vote.
Dunn.
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
DeBoer.
Aye.
Cruz.
Aye.
Harding.
Aye.
Ganfield.
Aye.
Sires.
Aye.
All voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And that takes us over to item 3, which is passing ordinance 3015, amending Chapter 23, Traffic and Motor Vehicles of the Code of Ordinances relative to electric vehicle charging parking spaces upon its second consideration. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any additional questions from council? And do we have any from the public who wish to speak tonight? Okay, seeing none, then it's been motioned and seconded, and this also requires a roll call vote.
Dunn.
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
DeBoer.
Aye.
Cruz.
Aye.
Harding.
Aye.
Canfield.
Aye.
Sires.
Nay.
6 voting aye, 1 voting nay, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And so that does pass. On its second consideration, it will be before the council again at our next meeting for its final consideration. That takes us out of old business and over into the resolution calendar, where these items will be acted upon by a voice vote on a single motion without separate discussion, unless someone from the council or the public requests that a specific item be considered separately, and we are more than happy to do that. So does any council member request to pull an item 4 through 6? Okay, seeing none. And with the new provision in our rules that I now no longer have to read these unless council members request it, I will simply say for items 4 through 6, these are on the table, and is there a motion for them?
So moved. Second.
Motion and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, those pass. And now it takes us over to the resolution calendar, where items here will be acted upon by a roll call vote in a single motion without separate discussion, unless someone from the council or public requests that a specific item be considered separately. Does any council member request to pull an item, let's see, 20, what number am I at?
7 to 24.
7.
Second here. That's right, I printed it. Yeah, so any items from 7 through 24?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Councilor Sires, which would you like to pull?
7,
Okay,
12, and 14, please.
7, 12, and 14. Since, so any others? Okay, any from the public that wish to be pulled as well? Okay, so for those items, 7 through 24, with the exception of 7, 12, and 14, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded, and this requires a roll call vote.
Dunn.
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
DeBoer.
Aye.
Cruz.
Aye.
Harding.
Aye.
Canfield.
Aye.
Sires.
Aye.
All voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And that takes us to 7, where Councilmember Sires had requested to pull that. This is a resolution approving and authorizing a form of loan agreement and authorizing and providing for the issuance of $3.86 million in general obligation loan notes, Series 22, and levying a tax to pay for said notes, the approving of the tax exemption certificate, and the continuing disclosure certificate. Is there a motion to approve the item?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Councilmember Sires, the floor is yours.
I'm just very conservative. I'm against borrowing money, even if it's the city. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, so it's been motion and seconded and it requires a roll call vote.
Dunn.
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
DeBoer.
Aye.
Cruz.
Aye.
Harding.
Aye.
Canfield.
Aye.
Sires.
Nay.
6 voting aye, 1 voting nay, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And that takes us to item 12, which is a resolution approving and accepting the contract and bond of Kirk Gross Company for furniture relative to the City Hall remodel project. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Councilmember Sires.
This is just nothing against Kirk Gross Company. This has to do with the City Hall remodel, which I was against the $4.5 million of spending. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, so motion and seconded and requires a roll call vote.
Dunn.
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
DeBoer.
Aye.
Cruz.
Aye.
Harding.
Aye.
Canfield.
Aye.
Sires.
Nay.
6 voting aye, 1 voting nay, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And over to 14, which is a resolution approving and authorizing execution of 57 owner purchase agreements and 2 tenant purchase agreements, and approving and accepting 57 temporary construction easements and 2 tenant temporary construction easements in conjunction with the Main Street reconstruction, 6th Street to University project. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Councilmember Sires, the floor is yours.
This is the same thing. I just pulled this up. I'm against the reconstruction and the roundabouts, and we've got some good intersections there that could serve many, many more years, and that's why I pulled this.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Sires. Any other discussion? So motion and seconded and requires a roll call vote.
Dunn.
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
DeBoer.
Aye.
Cruz.
Aye.
Harding.
Aye.
Canfield.
Aye.
Sires.
Nay.
6 voting aye, 1 voting nay, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So that clears out our resolution calendar and takes us over to bills and claims. Is there a motion to approve bills and claims for August
moved.
15th?
Second.
Motion and seconded. Open for discussion? Any from the public? Okay, so motion and seconded, and this requires a roll call vote.
Dunn,
Aye.
Schultz,
Aye.
DeBoer,
Aye.
Cruz,
Aye.
Harding,
Aye.
Canfield,
Aye.
Sires.
Aye.
All voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And now over to council referrals. Does any council member wish to bring a referral tonight?
Mr.
Yes, Councilmember Cruz.
Thank you. I sent out a topic for referral on Section 26 zoning chapter of the Cedar Falls Code, highlighting a concern I have where we have to require a 2/3 majority of the members of City Council to override a recommendation by Planning and Zoning that is an appointment or a recommending body in the case of a disagreement. So I'd like to have that discussed. And I'm also made aware of by yourself that Chapter 18, Powers and Duties of P&Z, Section 23 has some of the very similar language that we should look at.
Okay, so what's the motion for referral then?
To change the vote requirement from a supermajority of 2/3 to just a simple majority.
Okay, so
what's
in city code,
Section 26 and 18.
Point of order, where would you be referring that to? To a committee to talk about and then to council, or?
I could suggest
Is that-
either Community Development Committee handles planning and zoning issues, or Admin Committee handles council procedure. So either would be okay by my book. Do you have a preference for where you'd refer?
The community development.
Okay, so referred to Community Development Committee. And that is to, Madam Clerk, did you get the site where we would be looking to change it?
I didn't get the section, but it was in chapter 26,
26-4
26-4.
sub C, I guess.
Okay.
Okay, and then section 1823, part 5 also refers to 2/3.
I'll second it for conversation.
Yep, so motion and seconded, and open for additional conversation before a vote.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Councilor Dunn.
I am absolutely against this. There's been discussion in the past as we've gone through this process of redoing our downtown code, that the concern for taking away power of planning and zoning. But then now we're trying to take away power from planning and zoning. Planning and zoning, yes, they are appointed. They are citizens of our community who give their time and their knowledge to our community. And I very much value their opinion, and I do not wish to take away any sort of power away from them. So I am absolutely against this.
So for the purposes of the motion, you'd be against even the consideration of it, and would want to not have us have that referred?
Yep.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilmember Sires.
I think it is kind of tough when you start to have a minority, the three, override what the majority want. And as Kelly said, Councilman Dunn, they are appointed by the mayor, and I like the work that they do. I think the council, who is actually elected by the citizens, should have the final say and should be just the majority. That's all.
Any other discussion?
Mr.
And
Mayor?
this is just in terms of having the discussion or not, sent to community development. Yes, Councilor DeBoer?
For this discussion to community development, it would be helpful if staff could provide us information on the history of why that zoning code was made, since it's not the same as state code, maybe what the benefits or the downfalls of it are.
I agree. Just to throw my sense out there.
So I question whether that's something that we should be discussing tonight, or if that should be part of the consideration. What's the council?
Well, I don't think we can discuss it tonight.
Yeah, I would say part of the
If we get
consideration.
into the weeds, it's got to be unpublished discussion later.
Right. So I wouldn't want to get too much into detail of what would actually be part of that committee meeting. And I think that like having information brought up from Rogers, the background of it, that's probably, unless council disagrees, that's probably much more inclined to that discussion itself.
Fair.
So anything else that we would need to bring up in order to make a good decision on whether to refer this to the Community Development Committee?
Yeah, for clarity, I wasn't asking for those to be answered tonight. I was asking for that information to be available to us when we do discuss it.
So if we do discuss it. So that's yet to be decided. Okay, so with that, if there's nothing else, there's a discussion point on this and nothing from the public on, okay, so with that, it's been motioned and seconded to refer this, those two items to Planning and or to Community Development Committee to potentially remove 2/3 out of the equation for council approval of planning and zoning recommendations or modifications recommendations. Did I catch that
Yes.
well enough? Okay.
Correct.
And anyone disagree that that's what's up for the vote here? Okay, so all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, so all in favor, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. All opposed, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that does pass, just to have the discussion sent forward to the Community Development Committee. And any other referrals for tonight?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Councilmember Cruz.
earlier tonight during the committee meetings, I kind of casually mentioned the TIF thing about standardizing and why do we have a 5-year policy? I thought we used to have a 5-year policy, my understanding, and then we had a 15-year TIF, and then are we still a blighted area, or is downtown an urban renewal area? And what defines urban renewal? I'd like to see a discussion on that to educate us, educate the public, maybe set a policy for the city to have no more than a 5-year TIF or no more than a 4-year or 3-year, particularly when an area might be getting well-developed.
Okay, so what's the referral then? I'm always going to ask for a motion.
Okay, I motion, Mr. Mayor, that we review the TIF program to develop a city policy, a standardized policy for the length of a TIF. And that to, I guess, finance and business operations?
That's probably the best place for it to go. Unless anyone in council would object, we'd send it to FBO. Okay, so that's the motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and seconded, open for additional discussion.
So I guess my question would be, what's the purpose of the need for discussion, or what's your concern?
So we have a standard TIF program that the developers will know that it's 5-year max, as opposed to negotiating and potentially getting longer, or is it needed, that sort of thing, because it's a diversion of tax dollars from the schools and county to the developer as a rebate. And we want a standardized policy. That's what I would perceive.
Okay. Mr. Gaines, do you have any insight on this subject?
So
Is there a legal requirement for the number of years?
There actually is a standard city council policy, and maybe this is a good time that we'd come forward and review it. It is a 5-year policy in the downtown area and also on the industrial parks, and so we can bring forward something that would review those policies.
Okay. Any other discussion? Councilmember Ganfield?
Yeah, I just want to make sure, did Councilmember Cruz say something about an educational piece for the public as well? I think that has value being forwarded to the committee to have that presentation, so I'm in favor of that.
And by educational piece, do you just mean like an infomercial
presentation.
to explain what TIF is?
Yep.
Okay. I think that could be part of that as a friendly, I don't even know if it's an amendment, but just include that as part of the
Support.
discussion. Okay. All right, so any other discussion? All right, so it was motioned and seconded, and does anybody need me to reread the motion? Okay, motion and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, so that does pass. Any other referrals tonight? Okay, then taking us over to council updates and announcements. This was changed in the recent new version of the council meeting procedures, just so to have a little bit more clarity that this is a time where council can request updates from staff if they want, and then also if they just have general announcements, we just ask to keep those announcements kind of germane to city business or the good public order. So with that, does any council updates or announcements tonight?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Councilor Sires.
I wonder if we could get an update from Director Birdie on the shots fired on College Hill and what he can tell us about that.
Okay, so for Director Birdie?
All right, yeah, as Councilman Sires mentioned, there was a shots fired incident on Saturday evening up on in one of the apartment complexes in the 2100 block of College Street. Vehicle and building was hit. You know, our investigative staff worked on that Saturday evening, worked on it yesterday, worked on it today. There's a lot of work going on with the investigation. You know, not much that I want to share publicly, but we believe it was targeted, and you know, we're working on both sides of it. Who the target was, who was doing the shooting. There were things out on social media, so they'll need to recover evidence, and of course work with all the law enforcement agencies here in the county like we always do. And if anybody from the council would like more detail, they could sure reach out to Acting Chief Howard anytime for some more details that we don't want public about the investigation.
Thank you.
And can you explain, it's not like why you're not making certain details public, like just generally?
Just in general terms, because they're part of the investigation. We wouldn't want the suspects or people that may be suspects to you know, to hear all the things we're doing and all the steps we're doing to try and solve that crime. And odds are it ties into other things going on in the Cedar Valley, you know, if it's targeted and if we know both sides of it, so.
Okay, yeah, so we'll certainly release the information we can. I know it's a pretty public setting where that occurred, but we also have to be careful on the law enforcement side for the continuing investigation as well. So council members have some extra privilege the public might not have for extra information as you need to carry out your duties, and feel free to ask.
You know, and I would add that, you know, that area is down there near the bottom of College Hill on College Street, very heavily populated. You know, school's going to start on Monday at UNI. People are rolling back in. So we will be staffed up this weekend, not because of that incident, because this is a normal time of the year where we had bike patrols. We'll have PSOs that would normally be assigned to the fire division will be out helping. We'll staff up, we'll pay overtime, and we do that every fall and spring when the weather's nice, when we see the crowds roll in. So.
Okay, thank you. So anything else from the good of the order for council?
Mr. Mayor?
Councilor Gamfield.
Yeah, just a quick announcement, or just reiterate support. Acting Chief Howard did mention it earlier in the committee of the whole meeting, but they are putting together public training for active shooter information. Though it is a touchy subject, they deal with it very well. Lieutenant O'Neill handled the topic very, very well, and it was wonderfully informative, and I want more members of our public to participate as able. There are 3 more sessions, and they can sign up on, I presume, the city's website. I forget the 3 dates that are added, but we did add 2 more dates. Chief Birdie, or Director Birdie, do you have any more?
You could reach out to the Public Safety Department or to the City Communications Specialist, Amanda, or to Acting Chief Howard. Any of us will get them in the right direction.
It's good stuff over there.
Thank you. And Director Birdie, could you give us a 1-minute infomercial on the Public Safety Open House for tomorrow night?
Yes, actually, it's Wednesday evening.
Oh, Wednesday, I apologize.
So this Wednesday evening from 4 to 7 p.m., we're going to have a open house at the Public Safety Department. And really the idea of it is to show off our facility, show off the equipment, meet some of our staff. And really it's as simple as all ages are invited. You start in the training room, learning a little bit just about what we do and how we're staffed. And then really just a detailed tour through the building facilities, fire and police equipment. And then we're working with Fairway. They're going to help sponsor it, and then hot dogs and water towards the end of the tour. So,
okay, thank you. Should be a great time.
Yep.
All right, and anything else from council? Okay, seeing none, then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.